Y'all in Dallas, I feel for y'all. I ain't gonna hold you. Y'all going through it so bad right now. I'm seeing y'all protest the streets outside of the arena in Dallas, and my goodness, my heart goes out to each and every single one of you.
How are we trading the franchise player? You went to the NBA Finals. Dirk got a statue right there. It's supposed to be Luka right there.
Shit, I'm a Bulls fan, and I'm seeing Zach LaVine getting traded for a bag of chips, and my heart's broken. So I could only imagine if you're a Dallas Mavericks fan and you just lost out on the great white hope. The Mavericks are the definition of idiots. I mean, we're talking about some stupid fucking idiots in that front office. These niggas really said, yeah, we've made 2 conference finals. We're coming off of an NBA finals last year, and this guy's been first team All-NBA since like his 2nd season, but nah, that's not good enough. And on top of that, let's send him to one of our historical rivals in our own conference, the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, Adam Silver had to have made the call. They just gave LeBron his fucking retirement plan.
Hey.
Put that on that beat. Nope.
You fucking dummy. You damn bozo. What a fucking idiot. You know, Nico Harrison, before this trade, was actually a solid GM, going out there and getting guys like PJ Washington, getting guys like Derrick Jones Jr., some solid quality role players he picked up through the trade market, and also they drafted Derek Lively. Let's not forget the Daniel Gafford pickup. I mean, the guy did some good things, but this just nullifies everything. I mean, Adam Silver had to have made the call and said, fuck it, the ratings are down, get Luka in LA with LeBron right now. I mean, just look at J Kidd's face when he was sitting down with Nico. He looked like he wanted to strangle that nigga. Hell, if I'm J Kidd, I would have crashed the fuck out. I'm not gonna lie to you. Ain't no way you gonna trade Luka and expect me to sit next to you so I can take off some of the heat of you pulling off the worst trade in the history of this fucking league. Talk about using me as a crash dummy. You, man. I mean, just look at what the Mavericks have done over the last year. Why would they do this? I don't give a f if this nigga was 350 pounds. He just took you to the NBA Finals. If he's out of shape and doing all this, imagine what he could do if he was just in 10% better shape. That's all they needed to do. And even if he didn't get in better shape, you were still in a good enough position that if you put a better team around him, guess what? You could have had a championship roster. This just speaks to me like pride and arrogance on Nico Harrison's part. A popular video is going around of Luka drinking the beer and then they take it from him when they won the Western Conference Finals. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't give a fuck if that nigga drank 1,000 beers. At the end of the day, look at where you're going. The NBA Finals, something you haven't even sniffed since Dirk won you a ring in 2011. It had been 13 years. 13 years, over a decade since you sniffed that position, and you moved the guy that led you there for an injury-prone Anthony Davis? I mean, think about how crazy it is. Anthony Davis is a top 10 player in the NBA, a Hall of Famer, a generational defensive talent. But yet, he was moved for Luka, and the whole internet is treating him like he's a bum. That's how good Luka Doncic is.
If you look at the greats in the league, the people you and I grew up with, Jordan, Bird, Magic, Kobe, Shaq, they worked really hard every day with a singular focus to win. And if you don't have that, then it doesn't work.
I mean, y'all just heard that dumbass shit. Imagine mentioning guys like Shaq when you're talking about work ethic. This guy's a fucking idiot. What a fucking idiot. Don't get me wrong, he has made some solid moves, so I know he understands at least a modicum of basketball. But to mention guys like Shaq, Larry Bird. I already addressed the stupidity of mentioning Shaq. As we all know, the guy came into every single season in LA after 2000 fat as fuck. But Larry Bird is another one. The guy is a notorious beer drinker. He wasn't some crazy in-shape player. He was just heavily skilled, and his basketball IQ made up for a lot of what his athleticism lacked. This is seriously one of the worst cases of power trip that I have ever seen in sports. The man is 25 years old. He's a 5-time All-Star. He is a 5-time first-team All-NBA. He has been a 25+ point per game scorer since his 2nd season in the league. And there's only one player that can match his points per game output in the playoffs throughout NBA history. Take a guess. It's Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Luka is already a historical young player. He is already a historical player in regular season standards. He's a historical playmaker. He's a historical scorer. He's a historical playoff performer. And he's only 25 years old. I can't stress it enough. If I keep repeating myself, it's because it's so insane to me. I have to say it out loud for me to believe this is actually happening. And what's crazy about this is that even though the Mavericks have given the pieces to Luka Doncic to work with, like a Kyrie Irving, Derrick Jones Jr., Daniel Gafford, and so on and so forth with PJ Washington and others, it's not like they've done a perfect job throughout the whole time of him being there. The Kristaps Porzingis trade ended up being a disaster, even though they moved him for some pieces that led to them making their first conference finals appearance. But then you get Kyrie Irving, who I do like, but is not a defensive player that you need in the backcourt with Luka Doncic, but yet despite that, they still made an NBA finals together. And though Derek Lively, he has some promise, don't get me wrong, but let's be real, he's a Luka Doncic merchant. I don't see how he's ever gonna reach that all-star ceiling that Mavericks fans and the organization have for him. Trust me, we're gonna get a rude awakening going forward. Welcome to the real NBA, Derek Lively. No more Luka Doncic lobs. Now, am I gonna sit here and act like Luka Doncic had no fault throughout his time in Dallas? Absolutely not. His defense is horrible. He can't guard a parked car. Hell, we all just saw the game the other night where this motherfucker got sauced the up by LaMelo. If you told Luka to stay in front of his shadow, I'm convinced he couldn't do it. And if the conditioning was as bad and the weight was as bad as the Mavericks exaggerated, because yes, I do think it's exaggeration. Look at this face. You're trying to tell me that's 270 pounds? Be serious. But even if I want to be nice to the Mavericks as much as possible, if it was that bad, yeah, that's unacceptable. So if Luka wants to win championships and prove the Mavericks wrong, then he's gonna have to get better at those things. It's very rare for a defensive liability to win a championship as the best player. I mean, you'd have to go back to, ironically, maybe 2011 to find somebody like that, because yes, Steph wasn't a great defender in Golden State, but he was not a liability. Luka is not a positive on the court defensively at all. The only thing I could say about Luka's defense that isn't a problem is I guess he has size. So there is some versatility and flexibility there, but unfortunately, even with that size, he's getting cooked by the role players. But unfortunately, it does not matter, because if I'm the Lakers, we just fleeced the shit out of the Dallas Mavericks. It doesn't matter if the Lakers never win a championship. Just having a piece like Luka Doncic for your franchise for the next, 10 years, it's still valuable. I mean, look at the New York Knicks in the Patrick Ewing era. You cannot tell me that there aren't teams in the NBA that would trade what they have right now for an era like that. Sure, they never won a championship, but you have to give credit to that era because it was still competitive basketball that they were playing every single year, and they always had a chance. Sure, you can maximize this 1 to 2, 3 year window at best with Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving, but these are injury prone older players, and ironically AD is hurt right now, and you're putting your faith in them to lead you to a title, a deep postseason run in a conference that features guys that are way better than them as the best players of their team, like a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. I truly do not see the benefit for the Dallas Mavericks. I can only imagine how that phone call with Rob Pelinka and Nico Harrison went. Dallas, I feel for you. You guys do not deserve this. Truly, when the news dropped, I thought I was being shammed. I thought it was a joke and I had to make sure it wasn't April 1st. Honestly, I'm not joking. But at the end of the day, this trade just goes to show the Mavericks never really knew what they had in Luka Doncic. This trade will haunt them for years. And if you're Nico Harrison, you might want to walk around with double security around the streets of Dallas, because I ain't gonna lie, you might be the most hated person in the country since Tariq St. Patrick in power.